Mhm. That's good. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Or nobody.
Or nobody, maybe nobody. So, what are you doing here?
Well, sitting.
News. So some news. It's Friday.
Yes,
And,
and we're not in love. Well, though I am in a good mood because I had 2 days off this week, yesterday and today again. Hello, little Scratch.
I
Do you want to post the link on Twitter or Facebook? I would do it, but I don't have my computer here.
Okay, so let's share it.
Yes.
First of all, let's share it. Share. Sharing is scary. Okay, we shared it.
I think I'm gonna sneeze now. Okay. I think we can also talk about races.
Oh yeah,
That should be on the list for today.
Yeah.
But we can start with news.
Okay, so the news. Did we do a video last week? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Okay, so
I don't think so.
maybe not. Okay, so the news are.
But did we talk about Vice?
I don't know. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Last week we released Vice. Sand Cove Gets the Blues, which brought cop shows into Red Shed.
And a lot of pink.
And a lot of pink and blue and other pastel colors.
Yes.
Is that
well, some of them are too vivid to be pastel, actually. Some are just pinks and blues.
That's also
purples.
neon.
Yes, exactly.
It has to be the two things. Yes. And also.
And the pastel is a joke, right? Like a private joke.
No, but
no, I'm just saying the pastel, the way you said pastel when you looked at me. I don't know if you remembered. What I always say about pastels. Yes. Yeah. I hate pastel colors.
But the color palette for those TV shows and
yes, Don Johnson's wardrobe.
The t-shirts, the pale pink t-shirts and pale blue t-shirts. But
it's not. It's a tool. A source book. It's a toolkit.
What it's not.
What I was going to say that it's not pastel. Is what I mean with this is not insipid. And
no, the book itself is a bit more aggressive. It's ratchet.
Exactly.
So you have tables and characters and plot hooks. I mean, for stories. Some information about the place, which is called Sand Cove.
And it's hot.
Yeah, it's hot, and it's our version of Miami. The same way that Emmettville is our version of New York or some other big city. This is a coastal city, which has the same problems as Miami Vice. Miami in Miami Vice. Drugs and violence, and I don't know if it's real, if it was real or not. So I'm saying in Miami Vice. So there's a cast of characters, even though it's not a scenario, but it has a cast of characters that you can use for building scenarios. Oh, Raven Wolfgar. The white suits, right? The white suit is very fashionable.
Well, not into that one that was baby blue. He also had a baby blue one. I admit when we were watching Miami Vice, one of the things that I had most fun of was with Sonic Rocket's wardrobe. And also the Never Remember. That's because I'm a racist. I don't remember his name.
I always remember the name of the actor. Philip Michael Thomas.
Because the singer. It's not Crockett, yes. And the way it contrasted with, because he always was darker. He was from New York.
Yeah.
It was not. He was not darker because he was black, but because he was from New York.
Yeah, it made sense, of course. It wasn't.
I preferred, his clothes.
Yeah,
but didn't fit Miami that well.
no, it didn't. I don't know. Maybe it changed over time. I can't remember that.
I think it became a little bit more relaxed, but
Yeah, probably. I still can't remember. Well, anyway,
let's see if
Philip
I remember. I
Michael
think the other time we had this conversation, I think it was Raven remembered as of the name.
Yes, it was. I think it was.
Not yet. Maybe
Not
we'll
yet.
do it again. We need to remember again.
It takes a little time to. Yeah. Okay.
So this week, let's
And
start
this
talking
week,
about fashion.
yesterday it was release of a new book, which is Agents of Wretch. We can show it, right? We can show
Yes,
it.
you can.
Let's show it. Okay, let me look for it for you.
Yeah, before I start showing the screen like an idiot.
Agents of Wretch. Agents of Wretch. Okay, Agents of Wretch. Let me put this here.
Share screen.
Okay, so I think we're sharing, right?
Yes.
Are we?
Yeah, you are.
This is the cover. You can see this one has lots of oranges and reds. It's a different palette. 1970s, 60s, 1960s, 1970s. It's basically the same thing as the other one, as the previous one, as Vice. In terms of
the type of book it is, exactly what it is. Kind of it's not. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's completely different in terms of the tool itself. So you have here two possible factions. One is a little bit sillier. The Secret Service, which is British, where we have code names. It's the first thing, but not just that. You have code names and you have gadgets. You have a license to kill, of course. Laser watch and mini rocket launcher, and you have some vehicles. You have Roger Moore in the boat. Not quite Roger Moore, but someone similar.
It's a child with Roger Moore and someone else.
And another car, of course. And then you have Wretch. Wretch is Warrior, Recon, Extraction, Terrorism, Control, Hawks, and these ones are the Americans. This one is more detailed than the first one. The first one is basically an introduction, a joke about James Bond, of course. This one has characters.
What is the name of the character of Dean Martin in those films?
I can't remember. Matt Helm.
Matt Helm, exactly. Yeah, because that's a bit style what you're going for.
Yes, but there's no Matt Helm here. That's Bugs here.
Well, person can be the players can be Matt Helm if they.
Yeah, of course. And Zergo, and Mei Jun. I like Mei Jun, and Dooner, and Tika. So more code names.
I like the villains. Let's show the
gadgets. Okay,
let's go to the villains.
Let's go there. This is a little more information. These are missions, suggestions for missions. Okay, let's go to the villains. Enemy factions. So you have here a selection of factions. You have the Cultivation Wonders of Dundee, which are Australians, the Drug Tigers of Asia, the Flaming Cubans, who are kind of an anti-Castro movement. You have the Member God Federation. There are no good guys. You have the Mozambique Zebra Patrol, which is my favorite.
Yes.
You have Reset, Readjusting for Sustainable Eternity.
I like Reset, and we're going to have Reset.
Yeah, there will be
on Wretched Darkness.
A little bit changed because, yeah, but it will be.
Well, this is in the 70s, right? So they changed.
Yeah, they changed. United Ulster Union, and I like this portrait here of the Nemesis. So you have a few Nemesis. They aren't part of those factions. These are just so you have Dr. Onwan, Daisy Cupcake, and Sweet Chicks, and the spokesman. This one is from Reset, and a few more. And then you have some more plot hooks and some more tables for designing characters and mutants. Okay, enough.
No.
No, he didn't answer. I think he
Yeah.
today doesn't care. Yeah, I think Agent of Wretch is cool.
I like the typical.
I didn't write it, so
Coombs was saying that means you're gonna have more.
yeah, probably, maybe, who knows? If he writes more, I'll publish more. This one and the Vice, well, I added some stuff to both, but most of the ideas are from Joe Coombs, and he has sense of humor, of course.
If he didn't
which
have
is
sense of
more-
humor, I don't think he would be able to bear us.
Yeah, so and this time he really leaned on sense of humor because Agents of Wretch
Yeah.
can be played as a semi-serious stuff, but you can.
Well, if you want to play just serious, you will have other games.
No, I mean semi-seriously
Yes,
in games. You don't have to take it as a joke, but it is a joke anyway. But you don't have to be making fun of things during play. You can just do it with a straight face. But the teams are a bit silly.
I don't know if a lot of people can do that. I know we can, but I don't
Yeah,
know. I think
well,
there's some
anyway.
people that maybe can't do it.
That's a style, I think. If you can, well, I can't do the other stuff. I can't do just if I start kidding.
Goofing around.
Yeah, if I start doing that, I can play. So that's a way of handling stuff. I can use the silly things without having it
Which is
ruin everything.
actually fun, especially when he's the game master and he's saying ridiculous things with
Yeah.
a very serious face.
Yeah,
And we are, what the hell? Are you being serious? And he keeps being serious.
yeah, it can be kind of serious, even though you are talking about silly stuff. So well, just different ways of handling this. But I think Wretched, Agents of Wretched, Agents of Wretched can be used for that. Of course, it can be used for a serious style of play, but that's not the game for that. Also because it's supposed to be Wretchploitation,
Yeah.
which is the less serious of the line. I'm not sure which is the serious one.
The last serious.
Epoch, I think.
Oh, yeah, Epoch is serious. And New Flash is kind of, New
Yeah.
Flash in Country.
It's weird. New Flash is weird, but
It's too
not
weird to be
yeah,
serious.
it's weird to be serious, but it's not to joke
Yeah.
about. It's just
In Country, it's also not, it's
yes,
also serious.
yes. Well, spaghetti western isn't entirely well. It's not realistic, but it's not
Yeah,
supposed to
okay,
be funny.
it's spaghetti
It's-
western, so
It's
it's
gritty and it can be silly, of course. You can play, for example, how's it called? I would call it Trinita, but I don't know. I know it's not Trinity. Yeah, it's Trinity.
my name is
My name is
My
Trinity.
name
I
is
think, yeah.
Trinity.
Those and all those movies with Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, there are spaghetti ones, and they are spaghetti westerns. Well, they are
they're not
comedies.
serious.
No, they aren't serious at all. So it's possible. Yeah, that's it. Of course, poor taste and low budget. Of course.
Exactly. And I'm gonna get something. I'll be right back. If we're talking about low budget in poor taste, maybe
You're going to get some low budget poor taste what?
yes, something that we just got.
Oh yeah, the movies. Something we have been talking about a lot of times, and someday we are going to do some
We just
more
got a
videos about
bunch
it.
of
Jesus Franco movies or Jess Franco's movies. They are still wrapped in plastic, like Laura Palmer. It's in Spanish. Fu Manchu y el beso de la muerte, or the blood of Fu Manchu.
that is a good thing. Actually, you can still get DVDs
I think it's
for
Christian
bad.
movie, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, these are DVDs from a Spanish store.
You can
internet
still
store.
get, I think probably the best way to get
It's the only way to watch
DVDs is from Spain.
probably the Spanish
The
stores.
Coffin Joe collection we got was also
Yes.
from
I think it's worse.
Spain.
Yeah, these are very excited.
Now we are opening, and the cats are coming.
Excited. Okay, so let's show some.
No, show this one because I opened this one because I don't know.
Uh,
I don't think if we saw this one.
Passion version is
But it has a subtitle, Las Diosas del Porno.
Las Diosas del Porno. Susan, the wife of a British consul in IT. I'm not going to translate this.
La Bahia Esmeralda.
Emerald Bay? No, probably not.
Yes, it should be Emerald Bay.
Diosas del
We saw
Porno,
some of them, but not
Gods
all.
of Porn, maybe.
Justina, we saw this one.
Yeah,
Justine
this is about
is inspired in
the Marquis de Sade.
yeah.
It's a sadist story. It's out that this one has a
Yeah,
very
That's Klaus. The one that's
yeah, it's Klaus
Kinski.
Kinski. Yeah, this is a very
In Jack Palance. Well,
Jack Palance. Yeah, this is high budget for Jess Franco, two serious actors, and Romina Bauer. Who I think this is one of his usual actresses. Maria Roma, I think it's also one of those. Silva Costina, I don't know.
in Ataque de las Vampiras, I think he's Vampire Lesbos, but I'm not sure.
No, female vampires. Female vampires.
This one, it's not. This is not just Franco, but it's.
No, this is an offer.
Okay.
This-
But
this
it
came
was in
with
the
a
same.
package.
Okay, now.
They offered,
this is one of my
they offered
favorites.
a movie. So this is one of those Ilza movies. The actress is
But
always
it's
the
not
same.
the one from the Nazi.
No, no, you didn't.
They don't
no,
have the
it's
Nazi one.
yeah, but probably they have, but that's not.
Okay, that's not
Just
just
Franco
Franco.
movie.
Okay.
This one is sequel. I don't know if the second or the third one.
Uh,
The jungle in the
the jungle one, I
so
think, is the third one. The second one is the one.
Yeah. the weirdest.
Palace.
Yeah, this one is more like the first one, but in a
Yeah,
different
it's more.
place.
Okay, so this one doesn't count.
No, this
Kim
one is,
Basinger.
isn't interesting. Just Franco never did a movie with Kim Basinger, which is a pity.
Yeah, it could be a good,
You
really
might have
good for
that,
a career.
So Raven says this movie back in the 90s about Marquis de Sade and Nick Mancuso played him. I can't remember that. I think I saw a movie. Well, maybe. No, that's a movie, but it's not. It's more recent than that.
Yeah, we have a problem with Plex. At least we tried Plex, but they don't have sources for anything, right?
I'm not sure what was the problem with Plex. Can't remember. Maybe. I don't know.
Because even with a VPN, I don't know. It's because we are we may have
No, I
the
don't
VPN,
think
but
that's
we
the
are in
problem.
Portugal, so sometimes we have problems
No.
with sources.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was that the problem. Maybe we can't use it for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's paid.
I don't remember. I think we tried Plex. There was a time when we
Yeah,
tried
there was something.
a lot of things, but
There was something that it didn't work with Plex. We were watching stuff on Tubi, and we haven't watched it lately, but
yeah,
we still.
we are using mostly Tubi and Streamio.
Yeah.
Though you hate Streamio because you have to turn the
Yeah, but
VPN on.
no.
No, or Tubi is the one that you have to turn the
Tubi is,
VPN on.
Yeah, but no, that's
Yes, Streamio is the program on itself. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a
part
software.
that is annoying.
Yeah, the problem with Streamio is because sometimes there are no sources.
Yeah.
But Tubi is nice, but
I think we saw
there's
most
a-
of the films.
no, there's
there.
a problem. Not the most of them, but there's a problem with the selection of Tubi. It's mostly low budget movies of the 80s,
Yeah.
and that's it. So when you get tired of low budget movies from the 80s, just the 80s. Well,
Yeah.
of course, there are low budget
Movies
movies
of
of the
the
90s and the 2000s, but I don't really care about those. So
Some of the 90s you can still
yeah,
be
some of
watchable.
those, but it was most
Yeah, we need
the
more
interesting ones.
70s.
Yeah, the 70s, and the
60s,
60s,
and
and
50s.
yeah. So just the 80s, it kind of it exhausts the source.
Always a straight to video glory days.
Yeah, there are lots of them, but well, after 35 or 40, you can start getting annoyed. They all look the same. There's also that what's it called? I can't remember.
Kino?
that. Yeah, Kino. Kino is
Kino
interesting,
is
but,
cool, but
there's a problem with that. That's a different problem. They don't renovate their offer a lot. So there are very good movies there.
and there are movies that are so bad that are good.
Yeah, that they are all good. Well, they are not all good because they have recent movies, cheap recent movies, supposedly indie movies, but I don't really care about those. But the old ones are great, and the quality is very good because they are, I think they are a publisher, distributor, or
producer,
something.
distributor,
So they are releasing their versions, which are, I don't know if they are 4K maybe, I'm not sure, but they are improved.
remastering the films.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, you're not watching the VHS like it
VHS
was. Like
Yeah, there was some
Yeah.
of the movies were almost VHS quality, and that's kind of depressing. At least DVD quality has nicer touch to it, so it's not that bad. Tubi is awesome. You wanted to return collection, okay? So I don't know.
maybe that's the reason. I think there are a lot of things in Plex, and I have a problem how to use it. We need to check that.
I left. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I think I left
maybe
to check
because I
Plex
know
again.
the
Not sure.
basic expert at whole talks a lot about Plex. I think he also. I'm not sure if it's
Yes,
Plex
I
the one
think-
he uses.
I think there was someone else mentioning Plex. Okay, I will.
So Plex is like Spotify for films. I'm just asking in case Raven answers.
maybe.
Because it's talking about creating his own collection, so maybe.
Perhaps that's it. Well, I'll have to check it again to understand what went wrong the last time.
Maybe we were just drunk.
No, I tried it more than once, so it
Okay.
can't be just that. It could be that once, but not more than once. What else? Yes, I'm already editing the next release, which will be The Bastard King, which is another scenario for Ratchet Epoch.
Written by me this
Yes.
time.
You're going to give me rest.
Nobody, yeah,
to
it's just
listen to
about. So this one people cannot complain. There's no sex on this one, or very little. But there is madness.
To boobs.
Yeah, there are. And there's a self-harm table. So the characters can go insane and kill themselves or cut off parts of themselves.
That's problematic. Yeah, I told you that before.
Yeah.
So that will be next week's release. I'm changing the style this time. It will be impressionist style.
Makes sense.
Look like paintings. The other
Especially
time,
because there's an artist in the.
yeah. I think the other time I
You
used
can try to make, the cover maybe look like the painting that I mentioned of the Bastard King. I don't know if this makes sense to that with that image.
Maybe I'll have to check
Yeah.
how it is supposed to look like.
Well, you can always change how it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, of course. So that will be next week. And meanwhile, we are working on a project which has been delayed. I mean, maybe, I don't know, what should we call it?
It's not delayed. So this was actually
Well,
the
it
first
was
thing that we
the first
wanted
thing
to
that
do
was mentioned
when we
before,
started. Yeah, when we
even before Ratchet.
exactly when we started, when Miguel decided that we were gonna give a try. Yeah.
Okay, so Raven says I'm working on an evasion table for Ratchet is the New Black that makes use of the wanted level from a translation and replaces it like Grand Theft Auto. Actually, I thought about Grand Theft Auto when I called it wanted level. So yeah, so you are going back to the beginning. I think that will be nice. Maybe I'll use yours as well later. Okay, so earlier on Netflix. Okay, so we have to try Plex again.
So we were talking about darkness. So it was when Miguel first started, thought about doing something by himself.
No, by the way,
with me.
RPG World Reviews was I don't know if he's still there, but if he is, I think we should talk about an interview.
Yeah.
You released a new RPG pocket game, so I think it's Pocket Space. So it's something that we could talk about in an interview. I'm not sure if he's still there, but if he was,
maybe still there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, yeah. So it was an horror game because I think everybody noticed by now.
Yes.
It's our genre.
So even before Ratchet was a thing or an idea or a concept, there was an idea to do a horror game.
The Clive Barker,
politically
the RPG.
incorrect.
Yes.
Yeah, but not the official.
Unofficial, of course.
Unofficial, of course. And the first idea was to use Cepheus engine because it's well, I prefer that one to. In fact, I prefer that engine to OSR to this kind of OSR, to the kind of
But you
D&D
thought it was
inspired.
strange to use OSR for
Yeah,
also.
it didn't make sense to begin with it, so we started with Wretched Bastards, which is fantasy, of course, and then the other Jones country, which is Western and all that, and well, you know. But
Then
then
we went back because I wanted to do a urban fantasy game, and I started annoying Miguel with the idea that I wanted to do urban fantasy, and I convinced them that it was a good idea.
RPG
Yeah.
overviews here.
I convinced him that it was the ideal setting to release or to do the Reds conversion of Saint Claude. So
Oh yeah, Sunflower, yeah.
so then it became an horror game.
I prefer horror. So
It's gonna
the thing
be-
is, it will be optional, so you can decide the style of play you want. You
Well,
can
and
play
the dark fantasy can be dark urban fantasy. It's horror.
Yeah, it's kind of horror, but it's more like a sub-style that you're using. So horror will be the umbrella term for all that. But you can use it to play even if you want to pick up already published games, scenarios, I mean, for exploitation. Exploitation is horror, most of it, except the really erotic ones that are not really horror, but most of them, and the action ones. Exploitation is not horror. Most of it, Blackula is kind of horror-ish.
Well, exploitation can be horror when he's the
About half, yeah, about half of well, I'm including thrillers and giallo, as well as horror, because they are horror movies. If
So
you,
the
if you
idea
call horror everything
is
that is thriller,
generic contemporary
mhm.
horror game, and then we're gonna write the chapter for each
Yeah, just a
style.
few paragraphs.
Family.
Yes, not an entire chapter, a large thing. So just a few ideas on how to play stuff and how to
Probably
use it.
movies.
Mostly,
inspire.
of course, mostly mentioning movies and the usual stuff. So there will be giallo, surreal horror, urban fantasy, of course, gore,
Thrillers.
thrillers,
Uh,
maybe
I'm
cannibals
thinking
and zombies.
different from Giallo. Giallo
Yeah,
is
it's
a
not
thriller,
exactly the
but
same
it's a
thing,
different.
Yes, the thriller like I don't know, Seven maybe. It's entirely different from what
Mhm.
you will find from Italian directors of the 70s. What else? Maybe not this one, but Jess Frank, of course. And
The Exorcist, everything, every type, right? Devils.
yeah. Well, I'm not going to do a chapter on everything, but well, you can use it for everything. And it will have the most complete rule set for Ratchet until now. So there will be rules for magic and for psionics.
Different types of magic.
Psychics, in this case, yeah. Different types of magic. There will be different types of conjurers. So you can adapt the style. So you can't, so there will be, for example, shaman is not a kind of magic anymore. It's not a kind of magic. It's not
a kind of magic.
It will be a so there's just one list of rituals. What changes is your archetype, so part of a class. And
specific rituals.
Yeah, so shaman use more spells related to nature and that kind of thing. And you have necromancers who deal with the nastier stuff, and you have
sex magicians
who deal with sex, of course, and the magicians who do their rituals while they are in the dreamlands, and the cyber magicians who control technology. Not that I'm going to change the spells that much, the rituals or spells that much. I'm just they have a couple of specific spells or rituals for each class or archetype, I mean. And then the generic ones, well, that are related to the Beyond, everybody can use them because they are the basis of magic and Ratchet. But then there are other stuff that some can use and others can't do those rituals because they aren't adequate for different styles of magicians. And then there will be some other rules, new rules for insanity, more detailed rules
New
for
races,
insanity.
not species.
New races, yes, you are going to use again the term races because it's offensive and we use offensive stuff. You can play people, well, not people, of course, you can play people. That's the default race, the human one. But then you have other options. Well, some of them are humans, but not
Completely.
common human mortals. You'll have Children of the Night, which are kind of not vampires. There are vampires as well, but the Children of the Night in this case are not vampires. And there aren't wolves as well. There will be werewolves. So the Children of the Night are
hybrids between humans and
kind of mutants.
yes, creatures from the Beyond, or humans that spent too much time in the Beyond and were mutated by it.
Mutated, yeah. So they will be kind of
they're inspired in
the guys from Medium,
Yeah.
not Medium,
In
but
Cabal.
Medium, in Cabal, yeah. Cabal or what's the other name?
Nightbreed.
They are
Call it Nightbreed.
not bread.
Nightbreed.
It's not the bread.
I was
you
trying
eat
for
at
you to
night.
say it. I was trying for you to say it, but you
So
can't
they
saying it
are-
before. So they're gonna be Children of the Night.
Then you have the vampire, well, the vampires, of course. They were introduced as in Epoch, so
That's
they
why
are
they're called
they
vampires.
are the same.
But
the
I
same
think
thing.
they are the vampires of Carpenter vampires.
Yeah, not in
Evil
Epoch,
and
but they
not
will
in
be.
Epoch, but in
They
here
will
they will
be.
be.
Yeah, you can, and they also have a limited lifespan. Not that they die, they don't
But they
die,
get
but they
crazy,
get
so
crazy.
they lose their reason.
Yeah,
They
so
become monsters.
animals, beasts.
Exactly.
So you can control your humanity
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Then there are werewolves and
They're gonna be
basically
called,
the usual stuff.
Frenchy.
Oh, Loup-garou.
Yeah.
Loup-garou. I think it sounds better than werewolf. Why not?
There's not going to be elves. We
No,
have discussion
no.
about that, but I did come with the
Yes,
Children of the
no,
Night
no elves.
instead
No
of
elves
elves.
and fairies. Unless you really want to, and then you have to create the fairies yourself, or the pixies or what else?
And
There
angels?
is the kind of
Yeah.
dark angels. They aren't really angels because there's no religion, that kind of religious stuff, mythology. It doesn't exist in.
Or it exists, but it's not real. So people.
Yeah,
still
yeah,
exist, but
yes, of
it's
course.
not real, so
Yeah, the mythology exists, but it's mythology. So the angels and the other stuff that's similar to angels, they aren't really angels. They are
creatures from
These
another plane
creatures.
of existence. So
Yeah.
in this case, we calling him Devas.
yeah, it's just we chose
Because-
one
Yeah.
because it sounds better, I think. So they are the same thing. They are angels or
Or demons, depending.
Yeah.
Fallen angels.
there are also demons, of course. Well, the Clive Barker-esque demons that we have already introduced. And now you can play. Not quite an apostle of pain, but someone who is on the verge of becoming an apostle of pain. So we call them what? We call them,
Succubus, incubus.
yeah, of course. We call
Succubus and
them
incubus.
incubus and
I thought
succubus,
you had come with a.
No, I haven't
Good
changed
name
that.
for
No,
them.
I maintain that. Yeah, so that sounds good. So they are people who were chosen to become apostles of pain.
But they're still like in their internship.
Yeah.
They need to
Kind
prove
of
they are
that, yeah.
wicked enough.
So
So we can-
that means that they can pass off as human, but they are already changing. There will be some, for example, the Children of the Night, they will gain mutations. So those you can play them for a while.
So if they get too powerful, they will stop passing.
Yeah,
as
they
human.
panic.
They can't exactly.
They won't change that much, so you don't have mutations, but well, eventually it will have mutations, but that's a little bit different. Anyway, they are supposed to be played optionally, of course, if you want to.
Yeah,
introduce
just for
that kind
people
of thing.
that want to
I
introduce
don't think
more.
that yes, if you are going to have humans, you probably shouldn't introduce the other ones unless you don't mind that there are
It could be strange, yeah, a group with humans and
not just the strange, but you don't have
balance.
any advantage being a human except that you can do you can live your own life without being haunted, not haunted, hunted. So that's the advantage. I couldn't come up with something else. It would be stupid. Of course, these creatures
Yeah,
are more powerful than
monsters.
humans.
But they're monsters.
There's no reason. Yeah, there are monsters, but well, not entirely because
But they will
incubus and
eventually
succubus, yeah,
they will become monsters.
they will eventually become completely inhumane, inhuman, and strange, and eventually they can't live in the open. Humans can't. So, well, maybe that's just I didn't. I decided not to come up with things that they usually do in
Like penalties
wolf games.
for.
Yeah,
No, I think about
it
penalties for
really doesn't make
socializing.
sense. So it's yeah, no, there are, of course,
They are the elves and the dwarves of this.
Yeah.
Of this family.
So you have that. So there are penalties, but I don't think that's enough to balance things. I think still humans are still on the weaker side.
Mhm.
But so what can you do? You can balance it by
Well,
allowing a higher level for human players, for example. That's a way of handling it. Or you can just play with humans or not. So if you are using a werewolf and a vampire, they have their own advantages and disadvantages. Of course, the werewolf is mostly a human, but sometimes he's not a human. It's as it is supposed to be. Every month in the full moon, it turns into a werewolf. So it's just that. But at those, well, of course, not just that. If you are hurt or very angry, you will lose control.
like She-Hulk.
Yeah. No, not
If
really.
someone
Not really like She-Hulk.
cats, how do you say cats?
Cat calls.
Cat calls. Cat calls the werewolf.
Yeah. Well, it might happen. It depends. It depends on the kind of werewolf. What else?
Oh, because we are lazy.
Some revisions to the rules, of course.
And let's talk about the Beyond is going to be developed as a location.
Yes.
We're going to create, well, some places already exist in the Beyond that were mentioned in the other games, but there are other places that we are going to.
So besides, well, Elstone from Wretched Country is a place in the Beyond.
The Hunt, we're calling it the Hunt.
Yes, the Hunt in Avalidade. Well,
no, the Hunt in Avalidade. In Bastards.
Oh yeah. Never mind that. No, I wanted to say Antilia, not Avalidade. Antilia, yes. The Hunt in Antilia or Fork. In Avalidade, I don't know if I said. Yeah, that's Agartha, but it's not.
Agartha is a real place.
There's a connection to the Beyond, but it's not. Agartha is a
place in the Beyond.
Yeah, it's not.
The Dreamlands in the Memorial.
Yes.
The woods. The woods.
The woods in the. Even though that one isn't released yet, but
yes, but it will be. And the mountain. Yeah,
it's also
Saint-Claude.
It's also Saint-Claude. Well, a few other places. And we'll introduce some other places, some new places that will be creepy places, of course. War zones, and I think I'm going to put there a slaughterhouse style place. Well, not a slaughterhouse, but a very, very big slaughterhouse. Maybe for the Apostles of Pain. Maybe the house of the Apostles of Pain will look like a mixture between a slaughterhouse and asylum and a jail, something like that. I haven't written that one yet. And other places like insane asylums, of course, have connections to the Beyond. And I don't know, cemeteries maybe. Okay, that's it
And yeah,
about the
No,
locations. Then there were
yeah.
factions, of course.
yeah, in
Several
fact,
factions.
so I'm bringing a faction, the orders from Antilia to Rage of Darkness. I'm kind of turning them more modern, but at the same time, there's a reason why
Yeah, there was an explanation.
they
That connects Antilia to the modern world. So Antilia is supposed to be, we mentioned that before, but we mentioned it again. Antilia is the Earth, but in a different reality, different
or in a different
dimension.
time. I'm leaving that open.
Or a
that
different
nobody knows exactly.
Yeah,
But there's a connection. So they're like
There's a connection. Yeah.
twin worlds.
So there will be a connection here that will explain why there will be Knights of Sidonia, who will be psychics.
Yes, and the daughters of Xenia are going to be sex magicians, not sex workers. I'm going to say sex workers.
They can be sex workers as well. The Arachnid Brotherhood, which that is only mentioned in passing somewhere, will have a much larger role here, and it will be our diversity moment because they are African. Not in Antilia because Africa doesn't exist, but it's the same thing. So the Arachnid Brotherhood will be, they are kind of followers of Anansi. It would be their name if they, that's the same thing. So that's what they are. So there is a spider god. And they are bring magicians and other stuff. And then there's
that one you never remember.
The foundation.
The foundation, yes, that's going to be the default faction for the urban fantasy.
For the order,
yeah, and even for our. So it's a foundation that is investigating the beyond and the paranormal.
There's the l'Institut d'Investigation Parapsychologique Scientifique, whatever. I can't remember the name of it. It's ISEPO. Institut Scientifique pour l'Investigation.
It's too much French.
Phénomène Paranormal or something like that. Anyway, those guys. The French guys from Epoch.
And some new ones.
You mentioned also Ordo Chaos and
yes, Ordo Chaos.
Which is the one I can't remember?
The Teoclo, the ones that are the oracles.
Oh yeah, of course.
That one that you know.
Tedric.
Yeah, Tedric. I never remember it's Tedric. The priest of Tedric or something like that. And
the Zardos.
The priest of Zardos that are going to be basically witch hunters.
So we have a lot of factions here, and I'll probably include a little reference to other possible factions, because characters can have, if you are going to use one of these, which are fictional, characters can also be members of common organizations such as the FBI and the NSA and the IRS. Why not? Like in Conspiracy X, you can play a guy who works for the department, the thing with the forests, wild animals. And you can actually play an IRS agent in Conspiracy X.
You're going after the monster that don't pay their taxes. Yeah,
well, why not? Maybe. They have an interesting system to handle. I'm not going to try to emulate that, but I will include a list of not just those, of course, others like the Illuminati and the Templars.
I don't know if the Templars are going to exist because I just wrote
they exist.
But they are.
Yes. Okay. So you can be a Templar and not a Templar. But I will include all those as references, things that you can be as well, besides being in one of those factions, or you can be in no faction at all, because that's not mandatory. This is not the world of darkness. You don't have to belong to something. You can be just a bastard. And you are going.
You can be a normal person because this is an hour game, so you can just be stumbling upon. You can just normally stumbling.
And something else that is going to change: the hit points. The RPG Pundit mentioned that for country, and we are going to address that.
So we're going to use this system.
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's going to mind.
No, yeah. So we can say that, well, he suggested it, so we are going to use this system. So, of course, the other one will still be an option, because you can play, for example, as a urban fantasy, you can do it over the top, or you can pulp horror, for example, you can do pulp horror. So you can use the regular way.
I just remember something that we need to include. I don't know if we already included on the rules or not, that we have discussed about that fight or flight.
Yeah, that's in.
Yeah, I don't
There's a
remember.
new table for insanity and something. Oh yeah, another thing, wild eyes. This is something that Kunz had already developed. Well, it's not nothing new, but he had already did some tables for okay, what's this? For wild eyes, we are going to use wild eyes, especially for how should we call it? That kind of thing that we, well, something like Alien or that kind of horror where you are closed in a space and you are going to not in space, not necessarily in space,
but you're in a closed space.
Yeah, in a closed space. It could be also a haunted mansion if you can go out of there. So there will be wild eyes, a prison, yeah. That you rule for stress and pressure and things become more difficult. So wild eyes is another thing. I didn't end up saying what I use for hit dice. It's going to be, so you roll the first level. You roll the dice, 1d6 or 1d4 or what's supposed to be, and then you just increase 1 point per level. So you die easily, quickly. These are the things I can remember the most. Maybe the rest will be just small revisions, nothing special. But
some new monsters, probably.
Oh yes, some new monsters, some new spells or rituals as well. And the psychic powers, they will be the same. They are already plenty of those. Well, it's going to be revised still, so more things can show up eventually. But these rules will be then made available, probably as a simple PDF with no illustrations. Just this time I'm not going to do the layouts. I'm going to do the layout for Darkness, but then I will just release a simple PDF that you can print and not waste an entire what's it called, cartridge?
Cartridge, toner cartridge, depends. So printer friendly.
Yeah, printer friendly thing. So you can just print the rules and use them with the other games if you want, because it will include all the rules, almost all the rules. The only game that is not entirely compatible, but it can be of course not. That's the last one. The only one that might not be entirely compatible is Bastards, because it still doesn't use archetypes, just classes, but that's not really a problem. You put their fighterism in an action and the conjure is a conjure, so it's just insert there the archetypes. So that's basically the rest of the things are details and optional rules that you can include or not. So it doesn't change in the characters. Having perks or not having perks, it doesn't change the characters. The skills are there. I'm going to include their lists of things for all, not just the skills, but also for the perks and drawbacks and the spells and the psychic powers. To be easier to search for things. And that's basically this. It's a lot of stuff anyway. So
this one probably will take longer, like 2 months.
Yes, it's necessarily good.
I know.
Yeah, of course it will take longer.
It's
already taking longer. It's already taking longer. And I will interrupt the work to do others layouts and edit stuff.
I think someone's going to do the editing for us.
I don't think that's the editing for this one will be someone that's not a part of the Red Room, which means that it will have less typos, and it will be the first thing professionally edited. I'm not going to say who it is because he might say that he doesn't want to do it anymore. So we'll talk about it later. But I think, well, if it's not this person, ask someone else, because I want these rules to be edited by someone else, not me, not you, and not Kums.
Not a good editor.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, Kums is a nice editor for setting stuff, but rules I don't think he wants to edit. He doesn't like that. So it will be handled to someone else.
And we already have a cover and everything.
Yeah, the cover apparently it was just a teaser, but apparently people like it. So I will just do some adjustments. There are some things that might the lettering probably there will be a
The
slight
idea for the
change,
cover.
but the font will be the same. Yeah, of course. No, but it won't change. What might change is that when I'm going to improve a little bit the bird and the lettering, maybe a little more space there. So that's it basically about that. Races in D&D.
Yeah. Races going to the fun part. Let's see if someone is there. Everybody's asleep.
Okay.
Everybody was bored. So races in D&D.
It's
just funny. This
yeah,
is
it's
so
just a
funny.
joke basically.
Well, I only saw a guy complaining so far that Daniel Kwan something,
No,
but
I'm
probably
sure.
more will come.
No,
Well, yeah,
of
a lot of people agreed with him
Yeah,
on
of course
the
they
thread.
Of course,
It's just so
they're always
fucking
waiting.
ridiculous. It's not. Never is good enough. Nothing is good enough. Never.
It will never be good enough because they are always expecting what's going to come next.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
this is
people
offensive.
Yeah.
They want to be offended. They are looking for things to be offended. They aren't actually trying to make things non-problematic. They just want things to change. They want companies to fuck up everything and annoy other people. But then when they do what they are supposed to do, then suddenly it's not enough. There's always something else. I think it's happened to Tim Burton recently. He was trying to be woke, but then they called him a racist.
Yeah, well, he hired put the black kids as the bullies.
Yeah,
how dare him?
Of course.
That's incredibly racist.
But I'm pretty sure that if they were the protagonists, there would be some problem.
Well, they couldn't be the protagonists from. Well, they could from Adam's Family. Yes.
Why not? Maybe. Why not?
I saw the trailer and I thought that is a piece of shit. Anyway,
of course,
because it's a Wednesday meets in Hogwarts, but it's not actually Hogwarts. It's the. What is the name of the D&D school? Strixhaven, but a bit more goth.
Strixhaven meets Ravenloft.
Yes, exactly. And she's interested in making the world a better place and blah, blah, blah. And that's not the Addams Family.
Of course she is. Of course.
Yeah, and she's worried about the oppression of the white.
This is one of the spin-off from the Allison.
Yes, of course.
Great.
Oh, but another funny thing is that I saw also someone on Twitter mentioning that while Christina Ricci appears, she has a part, and people that were watching the series, of course, they are kids and they didn't know, and they're like, "Oh, that person was Wednesday in the films. Oh, that's so interesting. How surprising! Something really, really stupid. They didn't know."
Yeah, they're always surprised. And they're all surprising me with their dumbness. Wow. How is it possible? That's not an old movie.
The reality is probably for us. I don't know. I don't think Christina Ricci is an old lady yet.
No, she's still hot. A bad actress, but she's still hot.
Well, she was not hot when she did she played Wednesday Addams.
At the time,
she was a child.
But a few years later, she's about my age. No, she's younger than I am. Yeah, she's your age, maybe?
I think she's a bit older than me.
She's a bit penis, okay.
No, she's not.
There's no space here.
We're not going to create a polycule with Christina Ricci.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't, but that only works with ugly people.
I
don't think we are. Yeah, oh, you know, because she's woke.
That would be a polycule I could live.
Yeah, but no, polycules only work with ugly people, and I don't think we are not that. We are not ugly enough for that.
Well, maybe compared to them.
Yeah, but even comparing, yeah. That's why they will not want to be in the polycule with us, but
okay, well, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They have other options. Okay, so
Because it's really hard to find people that don't look repugnant and want to
yeah,
be on the. That's why we lost the Artwig Award, because I'm a disgusting human being. And that is a wizard, it's not a woman.
I am a disgusting human being as well. And the lizard
He's a
also
man.
is a man.
That was one of the tweets
Mr.
that they
Lizard.
complained. It was something retweet if you think Eddie Izzard is a guy.
He is a guy. He was always a guy, dressed as a woman. Anyway, so
Yeah,
race, you
races.
use race, of course.
Actually, it's even weird if you use species. That means that they're not going to have half elves or half
Oh, yeah.
orcs anymore.
Unless they consider, I don't know.
Because that is totally gross. Because
Yeah,
if they are not the same species, then they can't procreate and reproduce.
Oh, but they were.
They can procreate, but they
were
can't.
not the same race.
Yeah, but calling it race, it's not the same. It's more calling it species.
It sounds like an animal.
Exactly. It sounds like bestialism.
Yeah.
So the poor orcs can't rape people anymore.
No, they can rape, but they just can't reproduce.
Well, they're gonna have, if a horse has sex with a donkey, a mule is born.
Well, that's a half breed.
Yes, a half breed.
So it could still be a half breed.
Yeah, but they're infertile. So a half elf and a half orc can't get together and have a baby.
That's sad for those people. But well, they probably can't do anything else.
But they can adopt anyway. I'm sure they
They
can.
can't write their stuff now. Probably.
With D&D1, well, yeah, that's another thing. There are people that are focusing more on all this story with the OGL. I'm not, because I really don't care. I just think it's funny.
So okay, so race is not a thing anymore.
Let's see if someone will take this.
Anyway.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so. Oh, maybe. Cockney.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, those expanded editions, yes. That might take a while now because we are working on Wretched Darkness. But I'm still going to do that, of course. Also a new expanded for country. Maybe
Country will probably be first, right?
yes, yeah, probably because it was of the two, it was the first one. So
And there's probably another thing I need to ask people. Well, already asked, I think in Twitter once, and I'm probably going to ask again. What game do people want me to write scenarios? Because at this moment,
oh yeah,
I
think Wretched Epoch is kind of covered now for now at least.
Because I just wrote, well, I know I'm hoping I can still do a small scenario and be during December, even with Wretched Darkness. Let's see, but yeah, I'm not sure what should I write for.
Space. There's nothing for space. New Flash.
Yeah, you're always putting me the ones that are harder for me, but yeah.
Well done.
I didn't ask your opinion. I'm kidding. When I ask your opinion, you say write whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true. But now you are live, and I'm saying what.
Yeah, I think Epoch is more or less covered, and I don't know if there's that many interest in the Epoch scenarios. I don't know if that's what people want to play.
I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure. The games always sell better than the scenarios, but the scenarios sell the same, I think. Maybe the fantasies that sell more, but
yeah, maybe I'll do another dungeon until the end. Let's see. Or Bastards in Space.
Sex dungeon.
Yeah, I have a sex dungeon and I have Bastards in Space, so it probably will be one of those. But both of them mean you have to make a dungeon, and for Bastards, it's gonna have to be a space dungeon.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. How I'm going to do that. Well, let's see. Okay, so as we said before, next week there will be a release of something more for Epoch.
Yeah, and the Bastard King, yes, it is a copy. It's a ripoff of the Yellow King.
Yeah, I've never read the Yellow King.
Homage. Well, it's not really a ripoff because the Yellow King is a series of tales, but the idea is that's a play that drives people insane.
So it's the general idea,
Exactly.
but the details have nothing to
And
do.
the yellow king is supposed to be a demon or something. It's a creature.
Yeah, like in this case, it's
Yes. Yes, it is a bit. It's the bastard king, so it's a demon from the beyond.
and I'll keep working for darkness and the Prince of Darkness. I'm working for the Prince of Darkness, and then I don't know. After that, probably those expanded editions because that's something that's well,
Should be done.
I already started, so it's Bastards is done, so maybe that will be the next thing. I'm not going to write anything now, so okay, not that time. Nothing.
You're writing for
besides,
darkness.
yeah, I mean scenarios or source books, nothing like that. Shorter stuff. So I'm going to stay just writing for darkness and nothing else. The rest of it will be layouts for things that other people will do. Perhaps Raven's scenario.
With no pressure.
I don't know. Yeah. No
Well,
pressure.
no
I'm
pressure.
not sure if you
I'm
still
curious. Yeah, I'm curious to read this.
Yeah, I am too.
I think you saw bits of it, right? I didn't.
Yes, but it's
Even because if you're going to play it, then probably I don't want to read it.
yeah, maybe not. Even though I think it's a sandbox, but still. So that's it. Darkness. So next time we talk about stuff will be darkness again.
Yeah. Oh, but on Sunday we're gonna do an interview.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, we have an interview scheduled with Josh Peters from Stella Gamma, third person from Stella Gamma, I think. Yeah, yes. We are going to talk about the thing that he has written and of course the other stuff. That's Sunday morning. I think. Yeah, Sunday morning. Sunday morning in the US, Sunday afternoon here. It will be live, I think, unless he doesn't want to talk live. That's something you'll have to talk about at the time. So that's it. I think for now it's I don't know. I can't remember anything else.
Let's see if we have any comments so we don't just leave. Yeah. Yeah,
race. It's
normal. You don't see that, but that's the thing. There's when you use race, you don't see no evil connection on it. Oh, you're being a racist because you're using race. That's using race is racist. And I think species is really weird. If you think about it as a different species, and of course, elves are not humans, but it's really strange to think about it as a species. Yeah, it's like you're talking about animals and not humanoid creatures. Yeah, it's strange, right? Anyway, supposedly nobody's going to like the term species, and that's the fun thing. So the more the Wizards tries to please people, the worse they do. Nobody's happy, so they should just let it be. There was a time, I'm not sure how it is now, but there was a time when the term race was deemed racist. But I mean races as in races inside the human race. And you use ethnics. So yeah, ethnicity instead of race. So white people and black people and Asians and all that would stop being. But I think you can't use ethnicities now also. I don't know. I think it's not fashionable anymore to use ethnicity. So you use both, you use race and ethnicity. Because if you are not using race, then that doesn't make sense to call people racist. So I think race has started being used again. But anyway, it's not that use of the thing. You're not calling races to people. So people are a race, and then elves are a race. So why bother about that? It's because elves are black people. I don't know who elves are. Gay people. Gay people are not a race. I also don't know dwarfs. Who dwarfs are? Dwarfs are. But dwarfs are black. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dwarfs are, and goblins are also Jewish. Yeah. That's in Harry Potter. At least. That depends on who is complaining. And black elves are also black people, so you can't use race because everybody are black people. Yes. In my sex dungeon, so if I write, there are no Asians. Black elves. Maybe elves are Asian. I know there are a lot of races in D&D that I have no idea about. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So there may be some Asians there. And Indians and all that. The two types of Indians. Native Americans and the Indians from India and the Arabs.
The Arabs. Well, there are those settings that have,
Dark sun and all
Yeah.
those. Oh, and you have
but then in that
the
case, they are.
Yeah.
They are not the race. I don't know. I think they are human. Probably. Oh, anyway.
It's just
but
so stupid.
it's stupid. So yeah, okay. We'll use race. I don't care.
Of course, we will use race.
Of course. Yeah, that's why we use race, because I thought, this probably is going to.
Ethnicity.
I think
no.
people are no, of course it's not an ethnicity because they are different.
I know,
whatever.
but it will
There are
be fun
different
with
groups.
ethnicity.
Elves and dwarves and
So let's end on this note.
yeah. So race is good and no, but that's good.
This is a
Because,
very racist thing for you to say.
no, it's precisely if you stop using the term race, they can't call you racist. They have to call you speciesist, and it doesn't sound that good.
Bioessentialist.
Oh yeah,
They
but
like that one. Yeah,
they
that's
really
it.
like it. Yeah. So we are just doing this so we can.
Yeah, I want to make them life easier because saying you're a racist is easier than saying
Yeah.
you're a bioessentialist.
It's essentialist. I think it's essential
Essentialist. Yeah.
bioessentialist. Okay, have a nice weekend. Kind
Bye-bye.
of because we are going to return Sunday,
Yes,
but
and you can join us on Sunday and have breakfast with us.
with Josh Peters, not with
Yes,
us.
and us. We also we're going
Okay,
to
yeah,
be
we
there.
are going to be there. We are not going to eat the toast during the interview.
No.
Okay, have a nice weekend if you want to see the interview on Sunday. So bye bye.